I'm Jazzy, and I'm obsessed with transformation stories and obsessed with people that have every reason to give up, but they don't. So thank you for being willing to share your story today to inspire others to live their lives.
You're
And
welcome.
I'll let you introduce yourself before I start asking you all these questions.
Okay, well, you already know me. Well, maybe not your people might not know me, but I go by the name VanLuc 7 on TikTok and YouTube and everywhere else. But I mainly like to be on TikTok. I'm retired, so it's like my hobby. I love to do. And we'll get into like I'm pretty sure we'll get into all the rest of myself with the interview. So that's just in a little nutshell, like me.
Okay. So before you started TikToks, you were completely retired?
Yeah, I retired in like my late 30s. I was fortunate enough to retire in my late 30s. And so retirement gets so boring, you know? And so the one thing that I was always looking for stuff to do, and I would do several different things. I did gardening. Like I probably did anything that you could name. I went doing my art again, and I was painting like Bob Ross. Like I did everything. Okay. And the one thing that I just found a love for and everything was not just TikTok, but just social media. But here I feel more free on TikTok. I feel more free to be able to express myself. But oh, I miss when my babies were little. They're all grown. My son is about to be 30, my oldest. Uh-huh.
VanLuc, can I ask you how old you are?
Girl, I'm 46. I'm
That's
about to be 47 in a few months. I'm close to 50.
and we look the same age. That's crazy.
Girl, I started taking my care of myself when I retired, like in my 30s. So, and I don't need that, but I was blessed with some good genes, I think. So,
Yes, you look
yeah, I've got my
amazing.
Native American ancestry, which is the majority of what I'm made of. Then I got my Italian, African American. I got a little bit of Filipino. The whole other half is a whole mix. But I like to think the mixture of what made me, the melanin in my blood for
Right.
giving me yeah. Oh, thank you, Tanner. Thank you. Somebody just said you beautiful and funny. Period.
Oh, right. Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so
Okay, where were we at? I forgot.
what made you start doing TikTok?
Oh, okay. So one of my friends was over here and he kept on telling me, he was like, girl, you need to go over there on TikTok. Like, oh my God, I go over there and look at how much that I made in my first month. And I was just like, okay, but the money didn't really entice me. So I was just like, well, that's good. I'm glad for you. You keep on doing your thing or whatever. I'm very blessed in my life. So I can fortunately say that, I'm grateful enough to not, be worrying about finances like that. So I was just happy. I was like, oh, well, good for you. And then he invited me on to go on with him. And he was like, girl, we're going to go in there and we're just going to troll, okay? Like, we're not even going to be like, we're just going to be like, if I say something, just go along with it. So I would be like, oh my God, what? And we were just clowning, right? And everybody would be laughing and it was just so fun. And I was like, oh my God, I like this. And I used to be we used to be on YouTube together. And he was like, I'm telling you, girl, TikTok, you can be more yourself. You could play music. And I was like, you sold me with the music because you already know on the Red app. I don't know if we could say that over here. You can't really be doing all of that kind of stuff, right? So I was like, say less. So I started getting over here, and then like, I was just me, and I loved it. I felt more freedom of expression of myself, and that's what I love the most.
I love that. I think a lot more people should focus on that instead of just trying to make money.
I know it. They do battle, 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 battle. And I'm like, can't we just have some fun? Shit. I mean,
Well,
sorry, I didn't mean to say the S word. I mean, shoot.
you,
Can't we just have some
I
fun?
don't care if you
Yeah.
say it. I mean, I hope they don't banana us, but I
I
don't
know,
care about
no, no,
that.
no. I don't think that they will, but I don't know if you're putting on other platforms, if those platforms would do it.
Oh,
So I'm trying to be PG for
gotcha.
you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Afterwards, then, we'll get a little bit wilder. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Okay. So you told me that your sister was what really inspired you to start doing your live streams. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, okay. So not just my live streams. Been an inspiration for my whole life, really. Ever since I lost her, I mourned her. Well, I still mourn her to this day. Holidays are the worst for me. I've been really trying to turn them around to be more positive. But like right here over my show, oh, I just remember I forgot to turn on my lights. But when my lights are on, you could see it better. But that's her most favorite puppet that she would have me do like puppet shows and stuff for her. And yeah, she inspired something within me that I didn't realize that I had. So I don't know if I told you this in private or not, but it was 2 weeks before her fifth birthday. My little sister, her name's Samantha, and or as we would call her, Sam. And it was 2 weeks before her fifth birthday. I mean, I'm sorry, her sixth birthday when she got diagnosed. No, I'm sorry, her fifth birthday. That's right, her fifth birthday. And because she wanted to go to kindergarten and she couldn't go because she was going through treatment. And so she was really, really bored and she couldn't play outside with the kids. We grew up in the projects and you know, all the project kids get together and they'll be playing outside and she would look out the window and she would be like sad because she couldn't play with them. So as a way to try to like distract her from what she was missing out on, I would entertain her and I would do whatever she would tell me to do. If she would be like, you know, do a puppet show or whatever, I would do a puppet show. Puppet shows were her favorite. That's why her favorite puppet is right there. If she wanted me to sing, I would sing. If she wanted me to dress up into characters, do different character voice, whatever that it was, I was doing it for her. Because in that moment, when I was entertaining her, I could see that like what she was going through was lifted. I could see it in her face when she was laughing and stuff and giggling. All of that would like, you know, her like realizing she can't play with the other kids. She couldn't go to kinder. And that's what she always wanted to do because she would see all of her older siblings going to school. And all of that would get lifted away. And so for about 10 years after she passed, I really didn't do nothing. I really didn't go nowhere. I was kind of just a shell of a person. And
You said
she,
for how long?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years, I was like a zombie. It was insane. I just couldn't, because, okay, so when she was little, my mama was a single mama. And when she was 6 months old, I started taking care of her while my mom would go and, you know, work or whatever. So I would, right after I would get out of school, my mama would hand her over to me and I had a little baby, you know, and so, and I would put her to bed and all that for when my mama would come home. And, you know, she would be asleep and all that. And so I was changing diapers and all that. So I felt like now that I have my kids, I feel like I can't even imagine the loss of a child, but the grief that I felt was like she was, not only did I look after her like my sister, but also like my child. So it was a really hard thing for me to go through. So for 10 years, I was just a shell of a person until one night, and I know that this sounds wild, but she visited me. And I don't know. It was something about that visit that just made me think. Like I asked her, the first thing I asked her, I was like, well, first of all, I was like, is that Sam? Is that you? And she wasn't talking, but she was nodding. And then I was like, you know, are you okay? Right? Because for some reason, I don't know. I just wanted to know if she was okay. Like, was she sad? Did she miss us? Like, you know, and so I was talking to her a lot, asking her questions. Long story short, she was telling me about how she visited me all the time and she's in my dreams. And so something about that gave me a comfort. And I told her and I made a vow to her that instead of being so sad, that I would try to like live my life for her the way that I think that if she had a chance to still be here, the way that she would want to live. So when, and I told myself that I would do that. And it wasn't until I faced my own battle with the C word, which I don't even like to say the word because I don't want to even, you know, call upon it. I really, really thought about her and I said, you know what? I've waited for too long. I made that promise and I haven't done it. So I went skydiving and I've had a fear of heights. I did the polar plunge in the actual North Pole, which is insane. But yeah, I went to the North Pole. And just, you know, just living life if I'm gonna go, if tomorrow's my last day on this planet, I know she would want me to live this way. And I said, why did it take me this long for me to start doing this, right? And once I was able to like still be blessed with more, because I didn't think I was gonna be on this planet anymore either, going through that. And when I did get a chance to be here and I was spared, then I said, you know what? I'm never gonna go back to not living life like that. I'm always gonna live life like that, and stick by my word to her to live life for her, and that's what I do. So I've been all over the world. I've done. Everybody always says like you're a carefree spirit. You know, you just do whatever comes across your mind and all that. And it's always like I feel like it's because that's how she would. If she was here, she would want me to live it. So that's how she's inspired not just my lives, but my life. You know, and in my lives, so many people tell me, oh my God, I've been going through this, or like Jay, who was in here. I don't know if you're still in here, Jay, but is going through dialysis for kidney disease, and says you lifted my spirits. You're helping me forget what I'm going through, even if it's just a stressful day. And if I could do that for just one person, then for me, I know that I've made her proud, and that's how I feel. Like it's kind of like her legacy in a way is what I feel like. So
That's
that's how
amazing.
she's inspired me.
How long has she been gone now?
Oh my God, she passed in 97. So yeah, it's been, and I still, like, you can even ask my chat, like on the holidays, when there's that empty seat, or, like, and the holidays, Christmas was always her favorite, and Halloween. And every time it starts to roll around, I start to get like down in the blues, and, and I even tell people like, okay, I'm going to start to do my 90 days of litmus, because that's kind of like helped me. But this is it's gonna be my third year. No, no, that's a lie. My second year off of my antidepressants, truly feeling, so that way I could heal from that. Even though I think it's the hardest thing, and I don't think I'll ever fully heal from missing her in my life. And but yeah, it's the second year, and I'm trying. And my goal is to this year not be as lit as I was last year and the year before that, in trying to, but I think I've been doing good. I mean, I needed some type of crutch after not being on I just quit my I mean, it's not what you're supposed to do, but I quit in cold turkey because I said, I can't keep on like living like this. I have to like process that. So we're working on things. We're still a work in progress, but it's been in 97. She was 6.5 years old. So yeah.
Well, congrats to you being off your medication. So
Thank you.
how long has it been since you've been off your medicine?
At the end of this year, in December, will be 2 years.
2 years. So what
Yeah.
do you do when you get those waves?
Everything well, okay, so it's mainly happy candy, but I also love whiskey. And we also experimented last year with some of the mushrooms pizzas, you know what I'm saying? And so we do not, I'm not saying that that's the best way to handle it, but that's the best way that I've been able to handle it, and that's what's worked for me. But again, this year is my goal to not have any chemical help. So, but yeah, that's what, and and I'm just real, and yeah, that's what I've done, and
Yeah.
so I've acted a fool, but and I've cried, and yeah, but see, everybody handles their grief and everything differently, and at least I'm feeling it and I'm healing from it. And my audience has gotten to see a lot of my journey, and when I have my good days, they love that, and when I have my bad days, they're here for me. So that's the amazing thing about having them in a community. And they always tell me that I help them, but I tell them y'all help me more than y'all even realize, than y'all will ever know. So they're amazing. I'm
Yes,
grateful for them.
yes, the TikTok communities are really amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how TikTok finds all the amazing people that just love each other, but they do
And
it.
not only that, but they have so many, like, so I don't know if you know the term spoonies, but spoonie is like anyone who's going through like a chronic illness, and I'm a survivor, and I've also have several different health issues that I still deal with to this day. I'm currently in the process of testing for another health issue that I've been having, that like it's been wreaking havoc on my body and stuff. And so yeah, so there's a lot of fellow spoonies. Not only that, but I've got ADHD. There's a lot of fellow ADHDers. And so and there's a lot of Capricorns. I'm a Capricorn.
Oh, me
So,
too.
oh, see, so I don't know how TikTok's algorithm is so good,
Yes.
because it somehow we all like attracts like, and
When's your
that's
birthday?
January 4th.
Fourth, mine's the third.
Oh my God, my oldest
So
daughter's is the
close.
second.
Oh, that's so cool. My mom's is the 10th.
Oh shoot. Okay, period. So are you. See, I'm telling y'all that's it's just I don't know, their algorithm is insane, but I love it.
It
So
is.
yours is the first two? Oh, that's one, two, three, four right there. Period.
Wow.
I
Amazing.
love that.
What was your sister's personality like, and what did she enjoy most from you?
Well, she loved my performances, that's for sure. She also loved me reading her books was her most favorite thing for me to do because I would get real into like her favorite book. One of them was the one with the trolls with the goats, the Billy Goats Gruff. And I would change the voice and be like, "Who's that trip trapping over my bridge?" And I would be like, "It is I, the big," And she just loved that because anybody else who would read for her would just, read the book, and of course the performances. But man, okay. So number one, she was very bossy. Oh my Lord. If I didn't perform correctly for her, she legit would tell me. She was like a little baby Simon Cowell. Because she would tell me, she would be like, "Nope, do it again." And I would be like, "Are you serious?" And so I'd be like, "Oh my God." And so even my other sisters would have to be like, "Presenting." And they'd have to do the little with the spirit fingers, which we didn't know it was called that at the time. And even if they didn't do something right, like she made us all be on our P's and Q's. Um, I remember she wanted she was never afraid to ask for what she wanted. Not that I would call her demanding, but she very much would tell you what she wanted. And so I remember she wanted this Barbie Jeep, and I sacrificed so much to be able to make that happen for her and get her that Barbie Jeep because it was super expensive and we were poor growing up. And man, she was so funny. She would be driving and she couldn't drive that thing worth anything. But if she would crash I remember there was one time she crashed into the sidewalk and she was like, "Neta, move it." And I was like, "Samantha, I cannot move the dang sidewalk." Like, "What do you mean move the sidewalk?" And she was like, "It's in my way, move it." And I was like, "Girl, now I could do a whole lot for you, but I am not freaking God. And I definitely cannot move that dang sidewalk out of there." So oh my God, you do that too? See, this is TikTok. I'm telling you, it's just amazing. And so, yeah, so she was just very much, and not only that, but she was so silly. And she was very wise. She was very wise for her age. Like when I was reading that story, one of the many stories to her one time, she had turned to me, and this was already when she was pretty far into her chemo treatment and stuff like that. And she turned to me and she said, when I go to heaven and I meet God, I'm gonna make sure and tell him to take care of you and the grandson." And I only had my son at the time, and she would call him the grandson because another thing that she loved was movies. We're all movie buffs, and she loved that Kindergarten Cop. And the grandma would call her grandson the grandson, so she would call my son the grandson. And she said, "When I meet God, I'm gonna tell him to take care of you and the grandson." And I just looked at her like, first of all, you're like, in my brain, I was like, first of all, you're a baby. Like, why do you even know? Like, did she overhear it from the doctors? Like, this is wild. And then they were saying in my chat that a lot of children that go through the C word are wise beyond their years. And I said, yeah, she was very wise beyond her years. And she also even experienced love at like such a little age. So
I was hearing bits and pieces of it. I was like, I'm missing the good part.
yeah, he would go to school, and on his way back, he would pick flowers for her, and she would be in her. This was a point where so it got so bad that she couldn't walk because she lost all the, muscles, and she was very, very thin. So she was in a wheelchair, and she would sit in the wheelchair, and she knew once it was time, she knew, and she would sit there and wait. And his nickname was Turtle, and she would wait for Turtle to walk past, and he would always walk up, and if she wasn't there, he'd be like, "Samantha," and he would be looking for her, and he'd always have his little, little bouquet that he picked of flowers. And I'll never forget, he was at the funeral, and oh my God, it was so weird because the way that he grieved, like, it was like he was fully aware of like at such a young age and just fully aware, like, and he was like, I love you, Samantha, when he, oh my God, when he was up there. And yeah, it was just like, and so I was telling the chat that years later we had run into his mama, and he's already a full grown man, you know, and she had said, yes, Samantha, he still talks about her and says that that's still, she was always and still is the first love of his life. And I was like, so yeah, they're just, you know, that's why I've always treated my kids like they're little adults, like little miniature, you know, adults, because they're very,
Yeah.
children are so wise, like more than we even realize, you know? And so, yeah, but she was just, she was a little romantic, you know? She loved the movie Little Rascals. That's why I do this, you know?
I love the movie too.
Yeah, and she loved Darla, and she would say that Darla and Alfalfa was her and Turtle. And when he would sing, "You are so beautiful," she would just be, and she would go, ah, and she would act it out. And she was so funny. She would act out movies and stuff. So I always say, if she would still be here, she would definitely probably be like in theater arts or like on Broadway or like, you know, an actress or something. So yeah, she was very wise beyond her years, a little diva for sure, bossy, and a little romantic and just silly. She loved acting and stuff. So I like to think that I carry on, you know, some of like what she loved in what I do over here.
It sounds like she handled her, I guess, the end of her life pretty good.
Yeah, well, she did, and the crazy thing is that like you would think that as a child that she would have like whined and complained and stuff. She barely ever complained. So when you fast forward to when I went through my own battle with the C word, she was inspiring to me, and I never knew the the impact and how she was going to inspire me, even though she was no longer living amongst us. Because every time that I was going through something and that I wanted to cry or that I wanted to complain or something, I always thought about her, and I was like, she did this as a child without like barely even crying, with no complaints. And you're an adult. If she could do this, you could do it. Suck it up, buttercup. And then, you know, and that, and I'm not going to lie. I had a very weak moment where I was ready to give up. And, if it wasn't for my kids and everybody that I love here in this world, and her, I wouldn't, I always tell my chat it would be, what would it be? Because that was 2013. Do the math. If I would have succeeded, that's, you know, I always tell my chat, man, it would have been that many years. None of y'all would have been able to experience me, you know. And so I'm so glad that, you know, and as crazy as it sounds, to see a child go through that and the grace that she handled it with. I never thought
Aw.
I never thought that it was going to help me in any way, you know? And that's why I always tell my chat, like, even through the worst, there's always something in there, you know? Um, Even when you think that there's nothing good in any of it, you never know why you go through things in life. And I truly do believe that she was here, even in her short time, she was here to teach me things um, that I never knew that I was going to need. And, you know, God has a way of knowing your book of life because He's written it for you, right? And in some way, I feel like if without her, seeing her go through that, I probably wouldn't have been had the strength to go through it my own self, you know? So, and I might not know that for sure, but that's what I feel, you know? Yeah, so sorry, I didn't think I was gonna get all
Oh,
emotional. I was doing so
you were.
good.
I was thinking that. I was like, she's
I
making
know,
me
I
cry.
was
I'm
like, dang
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry to make you cry. I appreciate you sharing
No,
your
no,
story
no,
with us,
no. You
though.
know,
So beautiful.
yeah, I just I wish I could bottle that up or put it in a pill and give it to everybody, because I truly do think that it makes you look at life differently. And like I said, as crazy as it sounds, I take the bad and always look for positive, even in the worst, even in losing her and seeing her go through that. It helped me more than I'm sure she knows, but it helped me more than I ever knew it would. So, that's why I always tell my chat, like, I know that you may be going through something bad and you might not see now that it has a purpose or that there's a reason for it, but trust me when I tell you, everything has a reason and a purpose. Even the most horrible things you could ever go through, they really, really do. Thank you, SD. And thank you, Chrissy, for the gift earlier. I'm sorry, I was mid like crying session.
I'm sorry to make you cry. I just want to give you a hug.
I know. I didn't know. I didn't know that I was gonna. And I did my makeup and everything in like freaking. But you know what? It's good to cry because I feel like I do believe that one saying, like, when you like grieve, grief is just love for someone that's no longer here. It's love that you have for them that you have no one to give it to anymore. And so, it as anytime that I talk about her and I think about her and I remember her and I do grieve, I know that my love is never gonna go away for her, and it always reminds me of her. So yeah, it's good to cry
It is
sometimes.
just cry. Yes. Yes. You've already answered most of my questions.
I know.
Asking.
That's the thing. That's why I don't like it, like, to know the questions before then, because then it kind of like just flows. And with TikTok, I've gotten so used to. I never would share my story before. That's the crazy thing, is that I never used to share my story. And even on YouTube, I shared it like very, very few times in between. And I've been with TikTok because it feels so like I feel like if I'm on FaceTime with my friends. And so because it feels like that, my chat has helped me in being able to like let my true feelings out and everything, and things that I've never been able to share in any other social media platform. Um and so yeah, there's I don't know. I'm just so grateful for everybody that I've met on. That's why I started not just TikTok, but I started live streaming in 2016, and it was shortly after, because in 2013 is when I went through my own battle with the C word and treatment, and it took me about a year and a half after that to truly feel like myself again. Um, there were a lot of things that I had to work. It affected my memory. It affected so many different things of my life. And I was finally able to walk again and, just do things on my own without having to ask my kids to help me or anybody else. And yeah, so when I found social media, it was one of the best things, because when I was able to have those moments where I felt comfortable enough to share with, people online, I saw that it helped me more than anything. Because before I was just like I would keep everything to myself. And so, yeah, my chat, everybody that's been a part of my social media journey has helped me so much. And yeah, just being able to talk about it and stuff, which I never really would before. So I also feel in sharing her story that I also keep her alive as well too. So there's so many different things, and I don't know, I guess because I thought about her so much during my own journey and my treatment and everything. And I would say that I was like, if I survive this, it's going to completely change the way that I treat the rest of my life. And it truly has. And people always tell me, how is it that you could go through bad things, and like, you look at you and you wouldn't even be able to tell that you've been through all of the things that you've been through. And I'm like, I just really truly, like, she taught me how to look at the world through the eyes of a child, always. And I think that as long as you look at things like that, your soul stays young, and you know um it just makes you appreciate life the way that I feel like we were meant to. So she still inspires me, even though she's, yeah, an innocent view of the world. Exactly.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
kids and old people are my favorite. I just feel like being around them, like you just get so much wisdom and so much like just joy,
I
pure
know.
joy.
And little kids are like little drunk people. They
Yes,
just tell you how it is, and sometimes they say stuff, and you're just like, well, damn, you know? So it's just, but I love that. I love it so much. And yeah, I really truly like to look at the world through the eyes of, a child and keep that youth. I feel like it's almost like a part of her spirit lives inside of me. And I always will forever let that live on. So.
I love that.
Yeah.
What was the lowest part in your journey, and what got you through?
Oh man. Well, I think I kind of briefly touched up on that. It was when I was going through my own battle with the C word, and I was in so much pain, and I couldn't walk on my own. I literally was at a point where the pain was so bad that I had to choose. Like when I would lay down on the bed, every part of my body that touched the bed, which is basically head to toe, was in horrible, agonizing pain. My bones were just hurting me so bad. And I remember my sister went through that. And before the doctors, because this was back in the 90s, and, now, research and everything has advanced so much. And I remember um, when she could barely walk either, when my mom was taking her to the doctors, and just my mom holding her, she was like like in pain. And so in so many of those moments, again, I remembered her. And I feel like the lowest point was not only me having to ask for help, which I've never ever liked asking. And I mean, I was homeless in the streets at 16, kicked out of my house. And you have to grow up real quick, and you got to do a lot of shit on your own. And so I never liked asking anybody for help. When you ask somebody for help, either they throw it in your face. That's what I learned. They throw it in your face. They want something in return. Like no good deed goes unpunished, right? So I always tried my best to do it on my own. And when it came to a point where I couldn't even wipe my own rear end, and I had to ask for help for that, um, I had to choose whether to lay down and hurt all my bones from head to toe, or to stand and try to sleep standing up, as crazy as that sounds, and only hurt from my hips down, and at least spare my upper body from the pain. Then and I think that was the lowest point in my life, where going through the treatment and everything, and just in agonizing, debilitating pain. And I was just like, they're like, what is my life right now? Like what? I'm not. I don't even. I didn't even feel like if I was even living at that point, because it was so. I was just so miserable, and I was in such horrible pain. And I tried it in that moment. Even thinking about my sister going through that, I just couldn't. That wasn't even enough to get me through, and that was the lowest. And long story short, without getting bananaed on here, because before all of this, I used to be a police officer, right? And so I know my way with a pew pew, and I'm very much a pew pew owning individual. And I looked at that for my answer in that moment of my weakness, and I was ready and everything, and it was, I was ready to just go and do the, just psh, and that's when I thought about everybody that I love and my kids, and what would even the people online, like what would they say, knowing like that, you know I did that. And I thought about her in that moment, and I was like, what would she tell you? And I was like, she would tell me not to give up. I know she would tell me not to give up. So that was, I think, the lowest in my life. And I think that if it wasn't for the love, that it was truly the love that I have for others that kept me from not following through. And that's why I'm here. So yeah, that's why I tell
Oh, I'm
people,
glad you're still here.
thank you. And that's why I tell people love is the most important thing. Like when you feel it, if you want to say it, like say it. Don't hold back. Let the people that that you know you love, let them know that you love them. Let them know how you feel. If they inspire you, if they make your heart smile, if you know, if they just make you feel a certain, just whatever that it is, just let them know, because you might not think so, but they might be going through something that they're not, you don't know, or maybe you just don't like. I never would share at that point. I never liked to share because I never wanted to look like a weak person, or I never wanted people to pity me. So I wouldn't even post about it on Facebook or anything, you know, because people, I remember that when I would see others post or whatever, you would see the people on there, oh, wah, 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 or whatever, right? And I didn't want to subject myself to that. So I didn't even, only my loved ones and friends that were close knew. And so that's why I think love is one of the most important emotions that, and I think that it's good to love even like people in my chat, even like, you know, when I meet people like yourself, you know, and that's the strongest thing that we can do. It binds us as humans, and it can save us too, you know. And we might not think so, but it really, really can, because that's what saved me, honestly.
Oh, I believe that for sure. I love that.
Yeah.
Let's see. What has helped you grieve the most?
Well, give me a few shots of whiskey and no, I'm just kidding.
I feel nothing wrong with that.
I
Sometimes.
know. Well, no, actually, that's what I mean. Shoot, people can tell you. I mean, damn. I think honestly, I think people that are willing to listen, like so many people. I'm telling y'all, TikTok's community has been bar none like no other, and it's so supportive. Everybody is so. I mean, don't get me wrong. We get a few trolls here and there, but for the most part, um, everybody in my chat is amazing, and they've helped me when I'm crying and I'm a whole hot mess and I don't want to go live with nobody, and I'm just over here singing, doing karaoke, and you know, drinking my life away. You know, they support me through that. They support me through the good and the bad and everything in between. And so yeah, they, all of you guys, I'm talking to y'all right now, all of you guys, when I tell y'all all the time, when y'all say, "Oh, you've helped me so much," I say, "No, no, 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 no. Y'all have helped me much more than I could ever help or inspire any of y'all." And I truly mean that, because before TikTok, um, I really still hadn't fully grieved or let it all out. I know that I would cry in my moments or whatever, but as a mom, even though my kids are grown, you know, they don't want to see their mom crying, you know, and right away, you know, so you learn to like, I had to, when my kids were little, when she passed, I had to, you know, learn to cry in the shower or in the closet, you know, and then walk out and just whoosh, wipe off my tears and okay, okay, who's hungry, you know, and do the whole mommy thing, you know, and I still do that. And but with TikTok, you know, I can come in here, and now my kids are grown, so I just come in my streaming room, or even if I'm cooking or something, and you know, and they've allowed me to do that, and they stay here and they support me. So they have been the biggest help in me grieving that I could have ever asked for, ever. They're amazing.
I'm glad you have them. That's so
Me
sweet.
too. I love y'all too, just so y'all know.
I love that. TikTok, I'm just getting started, and I've already seen how amazing it is. So,
Oh, wait until like trust me
man,
when I tell you, just be yourself, you
yes,
know, and your people will find you. Your people, like, you know, and you're one of my peoples now. Like we, you know, we're all,
yes,
you know, because we all have similar things, and you know, we're all supportive, and there might not be a whole lot of us, because you know, the other side of the TikTok streets, you know, they like to roast each other, and you know, all this kind of stuff, and we just don't mess with that. And they get the numbers, but you know, we get, like, our numbers might not be mighty, but the people that we get
yeah,
by being us, they're just, I mean, Raja's one of, you know, I like to
yes,
consider Raja one of our people, and he's amazing, and we've
yes,
got a lot of amazing people. So I'd prefer that over big amounts of numbers any day, you know?
same.
Yeah, you'll find all of your people. And guys, if y'all want to be one of her peoples, y'all need to go give her a follow, because I could already tell she's pretty freaking amazing. And I've talked
Thank
with her in the DMs, and she's a good egg. Okay, she's a good egg.
Thank you. All right, let's see if you haven't answered any questions. You just done amazing. It's like you just answered everything.
I know. Well, it's because you
Whoa.
kind of gave me a cheat sheet and you let me see it, and when
Yeah,
I've shared this story, it kind of just like so it just kind of
that's
flows.
amazing though. I've enjoyed listening.
Oh, thank
Let's
you.
see. How do you balance remembering her without being consumed by the pain?
That's been the biggest struggle, and I'm still working on that. Um, I think one of the things that helped me the most, like I always tell everybody, you got to feel to heal. And before, I remember those 10 years, I couldn't even say her name. I couldn't even think about her without bursting into tears. I couldn't even listen to music. Like, she loved Green Day, and every time that I would hear a Green Day song come on the radio, I would just burst into tears and just turn on the off the radio or change the station. And it felt so much easier to not feel anything and to try to ignore it. But that wasn't realistic for me. So I still struggle with that. I've tried. Everybody would say do something positive for her birthday, instead of, because her birthday is December 16th, and it's so close to the holidays too, and they would say do something positive, release balloons, or buy her a cake, and and I tried that, and that didn't work for me because I was just a big old crying sobbing mess. And so I still struggle with that. I don't think that that'll ever go away. I don't think that I'll ever get to a point where um that I can think about her or celebrate her without grieving her. Because, like I said, I truly believe that grief is something that you feel because the love that you have for them, you can't go and give them a hug, and you can't, So I don't think I'll ever. I hope one day that I can, but if anything has helped me is talking about her, like I am with you, and like I do with my chat, and letting her memory live on. And every time that I make somebody smile in the chat, they don't think so, but every time I make them smile, or they tell me, man, I was having such a hard day, or man, I was going through this and you made me feel better even though I'm in the hospital, or whatever it is, I think that those moments help me in dealing with missing her, as odd as that sounds, because I feel like in that she's proud of me for doing that, and it helps. They don't realize it unless I tell them, like I'm telling you, but that's how I feel that her memory lives on. So that's kind of a way that I've been dealing with that, and it helps in healing a little bit. um so yeah, but as far as like being able to truly do that, I still haven't been able to conquer that yet, but it's an everyday, it's a work in progress still. So hopefully we'll get there one day. I don't know, we might never, but we'll see.
It's okay. I just think it's so beautiful that you still just show up here and have a good time, even though it's heavy.
Yeah.
A lot of
And
people won't
some of
do
my
that.
most favorite things are like, when and I do not care. I will get on here and I will act like a whole fool and a half, and I'm with my costumes, and I don't care what nobody thinks about me, not even in real life, because on TikTok, people in your real life will find you.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I've had coworkers that I used to, my some of my brothers in blue. I used to be a armed guard at the Air Force Base. I've had some people that know me from the Air Force Base that come up in here, and and I do not care. Back in the day, I used to care, but I do not care anymore, because they don't understand that they might see me in a whole costume and acting a whole fool and blitzed out of my mind, and they might think like, damn, what happened to her? She done lost her freaking mind. But it's not that I did. It's just that they don't understand that in my mind, I'm still doing that for her. Just like if she's still here. So That's why I love to do that the most. So yeah. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I wish I could hug you.
Sorry, you could ask me something else because I can't even talk right now.
It's okay. Let's see. What made you choose TikTok for your life? I think you kind of answered. I think you kind of answered that.
Yeah, because I don't know. I felt like the community here is like no other. Thank you, Chrissy. And yeah, I think that that's why I chose this as my like home. I even abandoned my. At the time, I had like 20. I think like 22K subscribers on over on YouTube, and I just completely just once I found my people, and at that time it was like five people, but they were so amazing, and yeah, and I was just like, you know what, I because of everything, I just it's just like no other community. So yeah, that's why we're still here, even though it's been threatened to be taken away or whatever. I told my chat we're staying here till the wheels fall off, man. So
Yes.
because it's just like nothing else, and I don't know, it just feels like home.
Yeah, I'm just getting started, so I have like about 10 of those people that you're talking about, and I already feel like that too. So
You'll have way more, I promise
amazing.
you. I
Oh,
promise you,
I
you'll have
believe
way
it.
more.
I believe it. I'm not gonna stop showing up, so I believe
Yeah,
it.
don't you keep on keeping on, girl.
Thank you. Let's see. You kind of started to say this. Have you ever had a moment on live where you knew that your sister would be proud of you?
Oh, I've had many, and I've even had moments where I know that she was here. There was a moment where I was talking with another TikToker, and he lost his brother. I believe his brother drowned at a young age. And I actually have the video. And we were talking about our siblings, and we bonded over the loss of our siblings. And as we're talking, you can see, and it doesn't really I hope that it can show up in video as well as it did on the camera that day, but it was like this cloud, and it was so wild because I couldn't see it in my, like, when I'm looking in the room, I couldn't see it, but on camera you could see it. And it was like a mist almost that came down, and you could even see where, like, these, let me turn on these lights right quick. These lights right here, they're solid lights, so let me turn them on right quick. So these lights right here, you could even see in the video where it even messes with those lights, and it's just weird because you can see it pass through. And again, in my vision, like while I'm looking at the camera, I could not see this in real life while I'm looking at the camera, but you could see it on camera, which was wild. So I don't know, but for me, here it is. So
was going on, and that wasn't really taught to him. So that's kind of what had me at peace, because I'm the older brother. You know what I'm saying? That's my younger bro. He's 17. So, like, you already know your younger sibling is your baby. You know what I'm saying? So
I was the oldest too, and I started taking care of my baby sister. I think I was like 13 years old, and she was 3 months old. Because we were broke, and my mama was a single mama. So there was no daddy. Well, I mean, long story short, I found out my uncle was my daddy, but that's a whole nother story.
now
But you can see the mist already.
Hold on, send that to him.
It's real.
Send that to him.
Hey, why does it look smoky all of a sudden? That's weird.
Yeah, that is crazy.
You see that?
Was that the Holy Ghost?
Oh, it's moving. What is that?
That's actually wild.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. That's wild.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps.
That's wild.
Oh my God, that scared me.
That's wild.
Oh my God.
Somebody
That
tell
was
me
crazy.
it's
And it kind of went into the
That's
lights.
wild.
The smoke kind of like.
I saw that too. Wow.
Yeah, I just got like goosebumps. I can like feel it.
Yeah, and there's also, so that's not the first time that she's let me know that that her presence is still very, very much here. So back in the day, I used to have a security camera that it wouldn't really do video. It was like an old school security camera. So whenever, and it would only pick up on movement, like it wouldn't pick up on like bugs or nothing like that. It had to be like not even a dog. It had to be a person, right? And so it would pick up on that, and it would just take screenshots like a still, right? It wouldn't really do like video. And so I had this was back when I had my Jeep, and before I gave it to one of my kids, but I had a picture of her in there, and the sunlight started to deteriorate her picture, and I was like, oh, we are not going to be having that. So I took it out of there, and every time I would drive, she would be facing me because I had it on the little dash right there. And and I would use that moment to talk to her, because I talk to her every day like if she's still here. And I took it out, and the next day when I checked my cameras, I had notifications that there was movement. So I was like, well, where is this movement? And I when I saw it, like I couldn't even believe my eyes, because you could see, like, it looks like a little angel is looking through the vehicles. And I showed it to my kids, and my kids were like, it looks like if there's something flying, like almost like it's looking in the cars. And I didn't even tell them I had taken out her picture to safe keep it or whatever. But here's the screenshot. So you can see. So this is from the outside. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but hold on, I'm going to have to, you know what? Let me send it to you. You can see, because we could send screenshots over here on TikTok. Let me see if I could do it while I'm live. But you can see where, hold on, let me send those to you. And you tell me, because it looks like a side view of like a little angel. And she used to wear her hair in a bun. And you can even see the bun almost. And then in the next screenshot, you can see as if whatever that was flew. And when you look by my door, you can see, you zoom in and you can actually see like the feathers of like a wing. So I sent you the screenshots. And so I don't know if y'all could see that very well, but I'm going to try to show it to y'all on here again. So would be like her head, the wings right here in the back, and like she's looking over. And then this is where you can kind of see where it moved. And if you go in and zoom, you can see it looks like an angel wing, right? You can even see the feathers on like, it looks so much like, if you look at it when you look in your messages, and it's just like everybody that I've shown it to, they're just like, that is wild. It's wild. And so that's not the first time that she has shown me that she's, been around. You know what? I don't know if I can put it on a green screen. Hold on. Let me see if I could do it. If I could finesse my way into doing that on here. Because I don't know. You know what? I'm going to have to do a screenshot, and then maybe, because I can't see how to do it with oh, wait, I can do it. Okay, hold on. It's going to take me a little bit, because I didn't know I could select. It's on my favorites. So let me do it one at a time. So this is this one. So you can, hold on. Do I got to do it like, maybe I got to do it like this. Hold on. Dang it. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry that this is taking. I hope that you can filter this out, like edit this out.
Yeah, it's no problem.
That's me and her when we were younger. Hold on. Where is that picture at? Okay, let me see. Favorites. Oh, it's syncing for some odd reason. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, let me go back. Okay. Oh, it's not going to do it. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Okay, yeah, it's not going to do it. I think I was better off doing it with my hand. I apologize for taking long.
No,
You are very patient, because I would have already been, like, my ADHD would have already been so, but like, this is as good as I could do. It's not going to really do it well, but that's where you could see, like, as if,
yeah.
like, you could see the trail of like the flying.
Yes, I can see it.
And if you could take a screenshot, you can see right by the Jeep where there's like an angel wing or whatever. And the other one you can see where it's definitely a hold on, let me see.
And
Favorites.
this is your house camera you caught it with?
Yeah, it was like an old school camera that it really wouldn't like show the a video.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could kind of see right there on the black car.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that wasn't my car. So this was my car. So it's almost as if like she's looking over and like I don't know, for me I felt like she was looking like where'd she put my picture at? And so you can kind of see the side profile and even the like little hair with the bun and the little wings. So that was like one of the there's been multiple instances since then where I know that she's let herself be known. So I know that she's here and I know that I make her proud just because, she'll give me signs every now and then. So
What do you think she'd say to you if she was here today?
she would definitely be making me perform even more than I already do. And yeah, she would probably be bossing me around, telling me how to perform. And and I think that because I do believe that like her spirit stayed young, since she passed so young. And if not, if her spirit has matured, then I think that she would probably say thank you for me. I guess keeping her memory alive because I know when I pass, um, I hope that somebody out there keeps my memory alive. So
They
I
are.
think, yeah, I think that that's what she would, and that's another reason why I do this is because when we were really poor and when the doctors, it was about like 5 times the doctors had told us to prepare for her passing, and like take pictures and stuff, and I have several pictures of her, but we only had this one videotape, and we had to rent out. The hospital had a little camcorder that we could rent out, and it was filled up with like videos and stuff and of her, and anytime that I missed her I would go to my mom's and I would watch her, just to hear her voice again and to hear her laugh and stuff. And long story short, there was family that had rug problems, and them and their friends had broke into my mama's house and stole all the VHSs at the time, and that VHS, which was the only one we had of her, was in there. And so I'll never be able to hear her ever again. And that's one of the reasons why when I went through my own battle with the C word, that I didn't want to leave that where my kids were just seeing pictures. And so in 2016 when I found live streaming, I wanted to be able to do that so that way, my kids could see my personality, because the only thing I know, one day I'm not going to be here for my kids. And that way they could never miss my voice or my character or, my laugh or anything like that. And that's another reason I do that is for them as well. So that hopefully, they'll not have to miss me as much as I miss her voice and things like that. So, yeah.
Well, I love that. And I just really love how you do everything for like the right reasons.
Oh, I mean, I think that me not just losing her also made me grow up really fast, but I think going through it myself, um, it just took it like I already because I think I was like 18 when she passed, 17 or 18 when she passed, and so I went through a lot at a very young age, and I feel like going through my own battle kind of made me. I already had an appreciation for life, and it just made me it kind of like brought it like defined it even more. And that's why people will tell me like, oh my god, I wish I could see life through your eyes because I would have never looked at this instance like that, or I would have never seen this like that, or this situation. You see the beauty in everything. And I'm like, I think I have nobody to thank but God himself, the experience of my life with losing my little sister at such a young age, and going through my own battle. And yeah, I wish I could help everybody to see life like that. And if I can't do it to have them experience, life that like I have, then maybe I can do it by sharing my life and my experiences and the way that I view things. And maybe, just maybe, it can, make them see it a little bit, better. So, hey, Nadine.
I definitely do think you trigger positive perspectives in people for sure.
I love to do that because I never realized that I would see life like that until people close to me would say, like even like the movie like Stitch, and I would say like, oh my God, I was crying, and they were like, why are you crying? And I was like, do you not see the deeper meaning? And like, and I was like, oh, he was an alien, he wasn't even from this world, and all he wanted was love. He wanted to be loved, and he wanted a family, and then he found it with strangers, but they still, and they'd be like, okay, well, I never looked at it like that, but dang, now that you put it like that, and I'm like, but that's how it is. Like, how could you, so it's just like, oh my Lord. So, even in the little things like with cartoons and stuff like that, even if it's something little like that, I feel like sometimes we might not have an open mind, or others might not have an open mind to things. And it takes somebody maybe like me to, get them to see that. And so if that's what it takes, then maybe that's what I'm here for. I don't know, but I know I was spared for a reason. And if this is what it is, then this is what it is,
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to change it up just a little bit. We just got a couple more questions. What did you have to change about yourself in order to overcome poverty while you were enduring all of that?
Oh man, I truly had to change my mindset. Um, my mom growing up in the projects, and this is not my story to tell, but she had a rough life growing up. And instead, I learned at a young age, like, I could either be like her, and she's always looked at things from like, there's two types of people I feel like that come out of very, very bad upbringings and very bad circumstances in life. And that could either be you're going to constantly make yourself into a victim and live in the past, or you're going to choose to rise above what has happened to you and those experiences and not live in the past. Don't let the past define you, and you empower yourself so that you do not label yourself as a victim. And my mama, unfortunately, always, in my opinion, had that victim mentality. And that's why, I feel like that had a lot to do with why she stayed in those circumstances. And so I always told myself, I never want to be like her. I don't want a life like this. If anything, I want to do everything the complete opposite. And, we were severely abused. And that was another thing too. I said, I will never, if I ever have babies, I will never treat my kids like if they're just, meant to be seen and not heard. I will treat them, with respect. They're little humans, and I'm not just going to be over here. Like, I'll have a conversation when I discipline them. I'm not going to just be there yelling and beating on them and all that, the way that I was treated. Like, I just want to do the complete opposite. And so my whole mentality was, I would think like, okay, what will my mama do in this instance? Because whatever she would do, I'm going to do the complete opposite. And once I had my babies, I knew that I wanted, like, for them to give them a better life. So it was because of my love for my kids that I just had this fire under my ass, that I just knew that for them, I had to give them a life that I didn't have. And I could not be a victim. I could not, always like try to look for handouts, and I had to do it, me, myself, and I. And so I had to put in the work. And although I still prayed, God even says in the Bible, you got to meet him halfway. So I always was, working hard, and anything that I could do, go into school, and I would be working full time, going to college, and everything. And I always had it in my mindset, like, I'm doing this for my kids, to offer them a life that I never had. And so that way I don't ever have to experience poverty myself, but my kids, I can break a generational curse, and to where they're not going to have to experience it either. And so it was truly my mindset that had to change. And when I went through the C word, I read the book The Secret, and that helped me even more to change, like little things that we do that are out of habit, and that helped me refine that whole thing. But that's how what I had to do to get out of poverty, to get myself out of that, was completely look at the world in a completely opposite way than what a lot of these, and there were a lot of women, a lot of single women that were in poverty, and I refused to look at life like them. So I don't know. I just had it like, whatever it is, I'm going to just do the complete opposite. So it was just changing my mindset is, I think, the first step into getting out of it.
Was that the only book you read, or do you have any other book recommendations for us?
Honestly, that was like my most life-changing, that book, and The Shack. Don't if you haven't seen the movie, please don't watch the movie. Read the book first. That book helped me to see, and this is kind of going on a different subject, but The Shack really
Thank you
when I
so
was a
much.
guard at the Air Force Base, this older gentleman, I guess he had, how like they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. At that point in my life, I was still like a little bit standoffish, and he said, I don't know if you've ever experienced loss in your life, but something about your eyes, you just have this sadness. And so there's this book that I read, and I want to lend it. He said, I want to lend it to you. And once you read it, I hope that it helps you. But all that I ask is that when you finish reading it, that you find someone that you feel needs to hear the message of this book, and that you share it with them and you lend it to them. So it was kind of like a pay it forward type of thing. So I said, well, what's it about? Like, I'm not going to commit to something without knowing what this book is about or whatever. He said, well, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it's about, but if you've ever experienced loss in your life, it'll definitely help you to look at loss through a different perspective. And not only that, it'll kind of help you look at, we always look at God as like an authoritarian figure, and it'll kind of change your perspective on the way that you see your relationship with God too. If you believe in, God, higher power, whatever. So I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and give it. I'm over here in the guard shack, might as well, pass my time. And once I started reading it, I couldn't put it down, and never have I ever sobbed so uncontrollably after reading a book. But it definitely made me look at, not just did it change my perspective of the way that God looks at us, but in grieving my little sister. So that's those I would say were the most two profoundly life-changing books that I've ever read, and I always recommend those.
It's called The Shack.
The Shack, yeah. And definitely if you've experienced any type of a loss, and not only that, but even in your like I said, it made me really, really look at, like, the way that we are as parents. Literally, I always, now after reading that book, that's how I look at, like, okay, even in a situation as an adult where I don't know, like, I'm like, God, what would you want me to do in this situation? I always tell myself, you know what? Look at it as if, like, it's your kids. Let's say that you're this child and that this other person is this child. You as a parent, how would you want your children to apologize to each other? Would you want them to keep on fighting? Like, what would you want them to do? And exactly how you would want your children to handle whatever it is that you're praying to God for, that's exactly how He would want you to handle that too. Because we look at our children and we want them to handle things because we love them and we care about them. Well, it's the same with Him. So even if you haven't experienced loss, if you just want to read that book to look at, like, a different perspective, of your higher power, whatever you believe in, then I recommend it. But even more so if you've experienced loss, because it kind of makes you, like what I talked about earlier, even in the bad things in life and even in loss, there's always a reason, even if we can't see it, and as hard as it is, sometimes, we can find it, or maybe we still need help, but that book definitely helped me to even deal with my loss in a more constructive manner instead of it being so self-destructive, like the way that it was before. So,
All right.
yeah, The Shack for sure.
I'm gonna read it.
You
It better be on Apple Books when I get off.
girl, you gonna freaking cry.
Who's the author?
And I can't even remember the author, but I do have it in my look. Let me look it up for you because I do have it in my books. And because whenever you read a good book, you just have to like go back sometimes and like reread it. And so let me see.
Yes, I reread the Toltec wisdom books. Have you ever read those?
No.
The Four Agreements and the Fifth Agreement and the Mastery of Love.
Oh no.
They're really
I
interesting.
haven't.
And
So
instead of The Secret, I read The Magic. I tried to read The Secret, but it was like a hard read for me. But The Magic it's by the same person, but she like breaks it down into like a 28-day gratitude challenge
okay.
type thing, to where for 28 days you do a different gratitude challenge every day, and it like like brainwashes your brain, and it like makes you like, it'll like make you think about like what life would be like without the trash man, without the mailman, like or just like
Wow.
really like so gratitude like really deep into your
So
mind for like
that's like one
every
of
little
those.
thing.
I went through one of those moments when I was really sick because I seen a quote online and it said, if you woke up with only the things that you thanked God for yesterday, what would you wake up with today? And when I was going through that, and as crazy as it sounds,
I love that.
Jesus was definitely someone, not only my sister, but when I was going through my illness, I definitely would think about him, and I cried, and and I got to like, as crazy and wild as this sounds, because when my pain would start, it would start right here and right here, like in these two spots, and in the tops of my feet. And that's how I knew, because in the midst of everything, before I started dealing with like the C word and going through treatment, I was dealing with horrible, horrible fibromyalgia. So it was like every single health problem that you could possibly think I was going through at one moment in time. It was like my body was just doing all kinds of crazy things. And so I literally would think about like the pain and the agony that Jesus went through on the cross, and all of this. So there was so much going through my mind in that time, but that's when I saw that, and I was like, and I prayed, and I was telling God, was I not grateful enough? Because I've always looked at myself as a very grateful person. And I was like, was I not grateful enough? Is this because everything is a lesson? And I was like, is that why I'm going through that? Is that my lesson? Do I need to be even more grateful? Like, and I was just going through all of these things. So I definitely thought about, Jesus himself being in his human form on the planet, and my sister. But the author is W.M. Paul Young, and this is the cover, the way that the cover looks.
Okay,
The Shack, and
I
it's
hope they have it on Apple Books because I need a good book to read.
yeah, and if they don't, I don't think that it's that expensive in paperback on Amazon, but I do strongly recommend read the book first, and they do have a movie. They do have a movie, but the movie, it does not do the book justice. Like, I'm sorry, but I've always been one of those people that when you read and you envision the characters in your mind and all that and the world, and it's way better than what any book could ever make it out to be. So I definitely recommend, that first.
Is the movie good at all though?
It's good, but
But
it
not
don't
like,
do the book justice, in my opinion. Like,
yeah.
I've told people before, I'm like, dude, whatever you do, read the book first, don't watch the movie, read the book first. And I've had a few people that were like, I'm not gonna lie, I watched the movie first and then I read the book, and I regret doing it. You're right, I should have read the book first. And I'm just like, I told you, so that way it wouldn't ruin your experience. But yeah, definitely read the book.
Yes,
Read the book.
I'm definitely gonna read the book.
Yeah,
Before I watch it.
and it's gonna tug at your heartstrings, and it's gonna, trust me when I tell you, it's one of those that it's just like The Secret. It makes you look at life different. It will definitely make you look at a whole lot of things different in a good way. So it's worth it.
I think that's all of our questions. Is
I
there any other
know.
is there any other tips or advice you'd like to give?
Like to you personally, or like to everybody, or well, for
Whatever you
you, I would say just continue to be you because you didn't have to like. Why on earth would you find? I know Raja recommended me, which he is such. I mean, he is so amazing, and so I need to thank him for that.
Yes, for sure.
Um, but I think just keep being you because whatever your fascination, like that's why I've always loved to travel, is because of all the different people that I would get to
Yes.
meet and listen to their stories and and get to hear little tidbits of their life wisdom, and I see that in you, and I
Yes.
think that that's beautiful.
I've
And
been a I'm sorry. I was trying to
no,
cut you
no
off.
worries.
I've been a CNA off and on since I was 17. So old. I've always been attracted to old people, and even when I was like a small kid, I remember at family functions and stuff, everyone would be like, "Sierra, why are you asking so many questions? Are you writing a book?" Like I've just always been really curious and really like obsessed with people's stories and how they see things and why they are the way they are.
Yeah, and I think that there's beauty in that because I was the same way. It started in elementary when we did the adopt a grandparent, and there's a whole, oh my god, I don't know what it is, but like there's definitely a common theme in my life, which is going through a lot of loss by like every single person that I've loved in my life. um Tremendously, I've experienced loss with them, and then the people that I was supposed to be loved by were some of the people that hurt me the most. So it's definitely, there's something there that I'm still trying to navigate. um but I still try to find the beauty in that too. But above all, I think that in older people there's just this beautiful wisdom that we just don't get, and my soul was always attracted to that. So
Yes,
that
mine is too.
I see that beauty in you, and don't ever
Thank
lose
you.
that because that's what I think. There's, I don't know what you would call that, but it's definitely beautiful.
Yes,
And
I
I
feel
think,
like I'm
sorry.
sorry. I feel like I was starting to lose that, and then I came across Raja and his story, and then he referred me to you, and I just feel like it was just like God putting me back on the right path, back to
Yeah,
where I
I
was
think
supposed to
I think
be.
don't ever lose that because literally that's what had kept me traveling all over and meeting people and their stories and getting inspiration, because I think that that's one of the most beautiful things that we could do is as humans is inspire others with what we've learned through life and the wisdom that we've gained and stuff. So if you have that passion, which I could tell that you do, yeah, just keep on doing that, and I think that you're gonna do perfectly fine over here, and keep being you. And like I
Yes,
said, all of your people will find you, and I always tell that to everybody here too. Just keep being yourself, and everybody, we all have a story, and we might not think. I definitely didn't think that my story was inspiring. But there's always inspiration in everything that we do, and as long as we can share that with others, I think that that's part of what we were meant to do in this world, instead of tearing each other down. Help each other, build each other up by sharing our stories and genuinely make connections. And
yes.
yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't do that anymore, so
They don't.
that's
That's why I'm
beautiful
so
what you
glad
do.
Raja connected me with you. Like you're someone who actually has like their heart and soul into what they're doing every day, and I really love that.
Yeah, I know. I feel like well, it took me a long time to find like that this was something, and I still don't even know what I don't know. I don't know how to describe it or whatever, but like people on the surface level will look at what I do and they're like, "Oh yeah, she just, gets lit and acts like a whole fool on TikTok." But there's such a deeper meaning to it, and I feel like once people get to know that, it just kind of like, I don't know, to me it makes it a little bit more beautiful, and people might have their own little
Yes.
perspectives, and that's fine, but I choose to continue to inspire in that way, and you choose to inspire in your way, and I think that that's
Yes.
beautiful too. So just keep
Thank
being
you.
yourself, and just like everybody else in the chat, I always say that, keep being you, share your stories, share the love that you have for people with the whole world if you can. I think that that's important.
Yes. Amen.
And yeah, just your people will find you, and just try to look at everything in a positive light instead of negative, and try to be the change that you want to see in this world, and treat others the way you want to be treated, and and you can't go wrong if you're doing that. So,
There's so much beautiful parts to your story, but I think the most part that I've taken from this is that even though you spent 10 years like in a rut, you still decided to come out of it. I feel like there's so many people that have been stuck for 5 or 10 years, and so they feel like their life is over and there's no way they can come back from it. So I feel like if you put more emphasis on that part of your story, I
I
feel
think
like,
that that's the hardest part to tell in my story, though, because
yeah,
it takes a lot for you to admit, like, that you were at a point where you were literally thinking about, like, that life got to a point where you were just like, I'm done. And I feel like but at the same time, like, when people tell me that they're going through that, I know where they're coming from. And that's why I tell them, just remember, and this was the only thing that, like, would get me through, is I would be like, this too shall pass. And then when um what's his name? Jelly Roll? Is it Jelly Roll? Oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? We sing him every single night, y'all. When he would say, I am not okay, I would sing that, and I would say, like, yeah, whenever you feel like you want to give up, like, just know nothing lasts forever, not even the bad times. And, like, just like he said, I am not okay, but everything is gonna be all right. Take it one day at a time. Take your time, and just don't try to look for something that is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I never thought that I was going to be able to walk again. I never thought that I was going to be able to wipe my own booty by myself. And so, if I can get out of that, and be where I'm at right now, you would never be able to look at me and think that I was at a point of my life like that. And so I always tell people, when they tell me that, like, oh, I don't want to be here, whatever, like, everything, nothing lasts forever, not even the bad. And you might not be okay, but everything's going to be all right. And just hang in there. And, even if you have to get professional help, you do what you got to do. But, trust me when I tell you, you will not regret that you're still here when it comes a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, 15. So just keep hanging in there. So, you know.
I love that. Well, thank you again so much for sharing your story. It was so beautiful. And
Thank
I
you
hope
for
to,
interviewing me. I mean, dang, I didn't think
yes.
I was that interesting.
I think that was very interesting. It was all very heartwarming, very inspiring, very insightful.
Oh.
So
Well,
thank you
I
so much.
appreciate you so much, and I appreciate the love and the interest that you have in hearing others' stories.
Yes.
I think you could do really amazing things. Like, it's like, have you seen that channel, Soft White Underbelly? You haven't? Girl, you better check him out. So he kind of goes, there's a little bit of controversy with him, but yeah, he started out where he was interviewing people. He would interview a lot of homeless people, and a lot of, people that, like there was a whole inbred family that he interviewed. He's interviewed a lot of, HOOKERS's. I don't know if I could say that word on here. Just a lot of interesting people. And yeah, he has a quite a big following on YouTube. So if you get a chance, look him up.
Yeah.
Soft White Underbelly.
Soft white underbelly. I'll have to remember that.
Yep.
I'll have
And
to check
it's
them out for
the
sure.
stories are just like, wow. Like, some of them are just so intense, but he just interviews so many different people from all different walks of life. And so I think if you just,
Yes,
stick to that,
that's
you're
one of
onto
my big
something.
that's one of my big goals is to have a studio and maybe have in-person interviews.
That's what he does. He takes
Yeah.
them in there. And so, yeah, I that's why I said, I think you're onto something really, really beautiful. So,
Thank you.
just keep on doing what you're
Thank you so
doing.
much. And you too. And I hope to connect with you some more and have some good times.
Absolutely. Whenever you see me
Yes.
on live, just, sometimes if I'm singing or if I'm in my fields, I might not answer, or if I'm
That's
busy. But,
okay.
when I'm not
That's
busy,
okay. Yes.
I love talking to everybody. I don't care.
I love
That's
that.
one of the things you'll see. It don't matter to me. You could have no people watching you and just one follower or no followers. And as long as you seem like a good, genuine person, and we can have a good time. I love going live with anybody. So you're always more than welcome to tap
I
in.
love that. Well, thank you so much. I'll let you get back to the rest of your night. Again, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
I look forward to watching you grow more, and I'll be checking
Oh,
in for some entertainment myself.
period. Okay, I look forward to that. And guys, if y'all haven't, please go give her a follow. I just know she's gonna do amazing things. And then if y'all want to go check her out, what is your YouTube channel?
It's Sierra Jasmine.
There you go, Sierra
221
Jasmine,
FE.
and you can see. Hopefully, you edit out some of the
Yes.
interruptions.
Yes,
But y'all can go
I'm gonna do
see
my
the.
best to edit it out. It's a little the quality kind of sucks switching it from here to over there, but you'll still be
Yeah,
able to hear it really good. So you'll still be able to get the message, which is the
there
most
you go.
important. So
Well, if you missed it, Tanner, you can go to her YouTube channel and you can see the full interview over there.
yes,
So,
once I get it downloaded and everything, I'll send you a link so that way you can share with your people too.
okay, that's perfect. Awesome. All right, did you hear that? We will be getting a link and then I can share with all of you
Yes,
guys.
give me a few days. I'm not super
Yeah.
fast with
It
it or
takes a
anything.
while, especially with the editing and the downloading, and so
Yes.
you gotta be patience is a virtue,
Yeah,
y'all.
but I
Patience is
will
a
try to have
virtue.
it within a week so that way you can share it and everyone can catch the replay if they didn't get to.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
definitely keep me updated, and thank you again so much.
Yes,
I
thank you again.
appreciate
It
you.
was so nice to meet you and so nice to hear your story.
You're very welcome, and thank you again.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh my God, y'all. Y'all need to go follow her for real. Bonnie, you're freaking on. Hello, Jazzy. Girl, I'm so bad with names. I was telling them your name was Brittany. Excuse me for being horrible with names. Oh my God.
That's okay. You have a lot of people to keep up with over
I
there.
know, it's so, and I'm so horrible with it. Like, unless, like, like there's I see you a whole lot, I'm gonna be so bad with names.
Yes, that's
So,
okay. I totally understand.
I know. Well, girl, we got ready in a whole rush because I was like, I can't be looking like a whole hot mess. Like if I was rode hard and put up wet 5 times, I gotta at
Oh,
least put a little bit of effort into the way that I look.
well, you look stunning. I'm
Thank
not.
you,
I'm
love.
always a hot mess. This is probably the best I've looked on camera in a long time on here. So
Girl, you look amazing. Hush, you doing
thank
great. Let me
you.
put this over here right quick,
No
and
problem.
then that way we can go ahead and commence. Because I'm ready. I said I'm gonna go on live a little bit early, do my makeup on live, and get some people up in here. We got 59 people. That way they could see the process or whatever.
Yes.
So
I wish I didn't have time to be on live for a minute, so I'm literally just hopping on. But
don't worry, girl. You know what? You can always do. My friend told me about this app. I think it's called like Snow or something. And you can like filter your face after you record something. Yeah.
that's fancy.
Uh-huh. So you already know, girl. I'll tell you in private, and that way you could look all kind of good, like with makeup and
Right.
everything. Yeah, it'll make
Right.
it even takes away his double chin, he told me. Uh-huh. I was like, shit, I need me some of that. Damn.
Yeah, I still got a little bit left.
I'm like, so I don't got to be doing all of that. I could just get on that app. But I downloaded the app. I could send it to you if you want to do it. If not, girl, you good. You're
Okay.
beautiful just the way you are. Just saying.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the interview before I get started. Thank you
Well,
so
thank
much
you
for
for even asking me. I didn't think I was
Yes.
that interesting to even be interviewed. So
Yes.
thank you for seeing some type of an interest in me.
Yes, well, Raj's the one that referred me. I did his interview, and then he asked me if I was looking for more, and I said I had been trying. And so then he sent me your profile. So,
Oh,
and
he
I
is
love
so
I love
amazing.
your
And I
story.
didn't want to ruin like I don't know. I have this thing like if somebody's gonna do like if I'm gonna do a project or I'm gonna do something, like I'll watch, but like or go and look at theirs after mine is done so that I don't have any type of like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if that's weird, but I was like, girl, you know what? I'm gonna watch this afterwards. I'll do mine first and then I'll watch his so that
Okay,
way I don't get myself.
so you haven't watched his.
No,
Okay,
no. So I didn't
okay,
want to
that's
get
cool.
influenced in any way or like,
Right.
anything like that. So I'm gonna watch it afterwards. So I'm
That's
excited.
that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, I'm a little nervous. My name is
Why?
Jazzy,
It's
and
just
I'm
me.
it's just me.
Oh my why? It's just me. I'm a person.
It's okay. Okay, well, I'm Jazz.